Are you sitting comfortably? Then it's time to soar. This is the Riff Chord.
Hey guys, what's going on? Hello, everybody. It's February 2nd as I record this, a very snowy day here in southwestern Ontario. It's Groundhog Day. I don't know if the groundhog saw his shadow or if we have spring coming, but it doesn't look like it today. We've got snow. So this morning, as I get up, I saw some hockey news. Don't watch it a lot, but saw a little bit of it. The Battle of Alberta, Edmonton versus Calgary, big fights. Two goaltenders going at it at center ice. Haven't seen anything like that in 30 years. When I was a teenager growing up, I had a Sports Illustrated article and collage put up on my wall called "The Battle of Alberta." Getting nasty, guys scrapping. That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the best hockey films. Joined by my friend Andrew Donovan. He's a local guy who does the social media play-by-play for the Ontario Hockey League's Kitchener Rangers. Probably, undoubtedly, the most successful franchise in that league, and a former junior affiliate of the NHL's New York Rangers. We talk about many films, including Youngblood. Just this week, I was driving in southwestern Ontario to a business meeting. I saw a billboard. The Hamilton Steelhawks are having Youngblood Jersey Night coming up this month to celebrate the tradition of that hockey film, which takes place in a fictional team called the Hamilton Mustangs. But you can still get a Hamilton Mustangs jersey, and I'm glad to see the hockey fans in Hamilton and Ontario still celebrate that awesome film that Andrew and I are going to speak about in a moment. Here we go. Enjoy. Comment below if you have any hockey memories or if you remember that film. Remember any of that good stuff. All the best, you guys. Hey, Andrew.
Paul, how's it going?
Great. Everyone, this is Andrew Donovan. He's a friend of mine. He's a fan of all things sports, probably a music fan too, movie fan.
For the purposes of this conversation, I'm definitely a movie fan, yes.
Beautiful. Right. And your own hockey background, we were just chatting about it before we came on. You are the social media guy for the Ontario Hockey League's Kitchener Rangers?
Yeah, I guess it's a segment of what it is that I do. But if you're interacting with the Rangers during the game, it's me you're probably interacting with. Mm-hmm. And then if you go on to their website after the game and read the post-game report that the team puts out, I write that as well. So any game day digital media is in large part what I do.
That's pretty awesome. For my friends and family in the U.S. Listening, the Kitchener Rangers were, at one point in history, the junior affiliate of the New York Rangers. Mm-hmm. The structure of hockey has changed, and those affiliations have been replaced. But back in the day, our hometown, that club was the junior club for the New York Rangers. The Rangers had all their training camps in Kitchener. And if you knew any local stars who ended up playing in the NHL, most often it was through the New York system because they owned all of our guys.
Yeah, basically. And I think that rich history in the Kitchener-Waterloo area with the Rangers, both from KW and from New York, has kept going over the years. And it's funny when people move to the area from outside and they're not really familiar with OHL hockey. Like I moved to Guelph from Caledon, and I didn't know anything about OHL hockey. And that was kind of fun to learn about it. But Kitchener is just a whole new level of fandom, of history, of pride. And it's really been cool to be immersed into that culture kind of by happenstance. And I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's great because every couple of years a new club comes in the league, and inevitably when you see the announcement, one of their points is we want to be like Kitchener. which means we want to have a long history. We want to have people that follow us year in and year out. We want to be a big part of that community. And I know that certainly the mayor of Kitchener, the chief of police are there every Friday night because that's the place to be seen.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, you can score points with the locals by showing up at a Rangers game and making it known that that you're a fan. But you're right. There's some talk recently about the Odd is celebrating its 70th birthday. So that's a pretty darn old arena if by Canadian standards. I mean, we're talking like not quite Wrigley and Fenway old, but pretty freaking old. Yeah. And there's some talk about rebuilding a new arena, and it would, in many ways, on a smaller scale, be like rebuilding a Fenway Park. And you're basically like, you're doing a bypass surgery and taking out an old heart and putting it's not the same heart.
Exactly.
The Kitchener loves the Odd. And I recognize that the city grows and, facilities need to keep up with that. But it's awesome to be a part of that culture and a part of that team. And especially during a successful year like we're having right now.
Yeah, that's great. You talk about the Odd, the old Kitchener Auditorium. I have good memories. I grew up in Kitchener. High school hockey, we had Thursday night doubleheaders at the Odd.
Cool.
Yeah, this is before you were even born, Andrew. and I played on an all hair team. Like we had some serious flow. And
you still got it going on, Paul.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm talking about the real flow. And just today I asked my brother, I said, take a picture of my high school hockey team from the yearbook and email it to me. So when we produce this video, I'll put the picture up.
That's awesome.
We had
I'll be looking forward to that. It's good blackmail, man. Says right. The bald guy.
Exactly. And I went to high school with the Kitchener Rangers too, because in those days they sent them to high school with us.
Yeah.
At the downtown high school. And so guys like Mike Torchia Mike was the goalie. And then you told me the other day that we called him Torch. Torch's son has now played.
Yep. How crazy is that, eh? They called him up. I can't remember from which team, but it's a local Kitchener affiliated team to some extent. And we had some goalie troubles, injuries. Yeah. And sure enough, Torchia's son comes up and plays for the Rangers. So that's Kitchener's hockey history, man. It's deep.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you want to jump right into talking about movies?
Give her.
Okay. So this podcast is to talk about hockey movies and what we like and what we don't like and what our impressions are. So let me jump right in and talk about Slapshot. Because when I mentioned that we're going to talk about this, the first thing my dad was, he got the name wrong. He blurted out, he goes, Slapstick. I said, no, Slapshot, right?
That's the type of comedy it is.
Exactly. And, I didn't, my original intent wasn't to get into Slapshot. Slapshot used to be a big part of my life. 1992. Actually, the house that I showed you when we went for lunch that day.
Yep.
It was real frat house living, which is kind of the reason that I've put it behind me. But we didn't have cable TV. There was no streaming in those days. We had a VCR with the movie Slapshot.
Amazing.
So me and the guys in the house, we knew every line, and it was a real cult classic for us. So we knew all the lines, and we could do it. Remember the fashion show? If I can read the card correct.
My goodness.
He hails from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Yeah.
I was telling you before we started recording, just for context, that I rewatched it last night. Just to, I knew we were going to be talking about this, so I wanted to make sure that I was brushed up on my hockey movie knowledge. Yeah. But every time I watch that movie, and as the years progress on, I am so shocked that it was even made.
Yeah, I know.
Because like I was saying to my wife yesterday as we were watching, I said, not only would this movie not be made today, but if for some reason a script got out or something, there would be a worldwide apology tour.
Exactly.
just for the presence of the script. But that being said, I can't help but watch it as a fan of hockey and just like love every second of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, those were real frat boy days for me. And we even played road hockey, and we had glasses with the tape and everything, right?
That's awesome.
We could recite all the lines. But, going back and watching it, I did come to the conclusion that it is a hockey classic. Those guys have done a lot for charity, the Hanson brothers, and they still continue to do that, playing in charity hockey games and raising money for children's charities and children's sports. And I was watching interviews about it today and just remembering like how classic it was, and it's actually based kind of on a real story. In the movie, the team is called the Charleston Chiefs, but it's based on the Johnstown Jets. And now I have friends in my circle of acquaintances that are from Johnstown. And when they watch this, they're going to be cracking up because they know.
Where's Johnstown?
It's in the middle of Pennsylvania, like 2 hours from Pittsburgh.
Okay, all right, Quaker territory.
Exactly. Exactly. But just let me call up my notes and see what I had to say about Slapshot. Oh yeah, like it's carried on through the years. When I played men's league in Ottawa and then intramural university, we always had a player coach. I always got in the habit of calling him Reggie Dunlop. And then
yeah, it's appropriate. And you know, what's a part of me is like, I enjoy that there was an era for that type of film, and that they're kind of just like it's locked in that era. You know, it's a memory now. And I was actually at the Hockey Hall of Fame this past weekend, like apropos of nothing, like not to prepare for this podcast or anything. Yeah. We just decided to head on down there, and sure enough, they have like a hockey and popular culture section, and you know, they have all the paraphernalia of Slapshot, of Youngblood. It was like they had like Keanu Reeves's mask.
Is that right?
Yeah, and got the other goalie. Oh, can't remember his name. But you know who I'm talking about. Anyhow, yeah, they had all the paraphernalia there. It was just like it was so neat. And these, pardon me?
It was a goalie from a movie?
From Youngblood, the other goalie. It's on the tip of my tongue. It was Keanu Reeves.
No, I don't know who that was.
Oh, I can't remember now. That's gonna really bother me. But anyhow, yeah, the sports are inextricably linked to the popular culture in which surrounds them. It's kind of like a chicken and egg thing. You know, what makes one bigger? Is it the popular culture that grows the sport, or the sport that grows the popular culture?
Right.
But it was really neat to see that, and then like continue to watch these movies throughout the week and relive some memories.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned Youngblood. Can I jump into that, or do you want to say more about Slapshot?
Yeah, no, you can. However, I'm going to have to plead some ignorance here because it has been a bloody long time since I've watched Youngblood.
Yeah.
So indulge me.
Okay, so Youngblood, I just Googled it before this conversation, and it does confirm that if you're an 80s guy like me, that's your classic, right? Cult classic for hockey. And Rob Lowe plays the lead. He plays an American kid from upstate New York who has like 92 goals for the Stanton Flyers. He's a Wayne Gretzky style player of, you know, dipsy doodling through everyone. And he says to I can't remember if he tells his girlfriend or who he says, but I have to go up to Canada and play junior if I ever want to get a pro contract.
Yep, that's about right.
And in the story, his brother has already been up to Canada and played junior but was injured. And that took his career away. And then so at the beginning of the movie, the brother drives him up to Hamilton, Ontario, and he's got like an old Chevy SS Nova or Chevy Charger or some awesome car like that. And then when he drops him off at the arena, the last thing the brother says to him is, "Don't take any shit off those Canucks." And the Rob Lowe character says, "They'll have to catch me first." And the brother says, "Oh, they'll catch you." Right? Meaning like you're stepping up, right? And
you're in Canada now.
Yeah, and so like it's awesome in that respect. The way it portrays Canada though is extremely dark. And when I say dark, like I mean literally, like the arena's an old barn, right?
Oh yeah.
It truly is dark inside. There's not a lot of people there. So it's like gladiator school.
Yep.
Which can like has its humor. Like I love it in that respect. And but when he gets there, the captain of the team is like a Messier to his Gretzky, and it's played by Patrick Swayze, or as it says on the awesome T-shirt that I bought my brother, where he's got the good flow, hat trick Swayze.
I need that shirt.
And the team's called the Hamilton Mustangs, and they take him drinking. Oh, and Keanu Reeves plays the French Canadian goalie.
Yeah, that's right.
His accent is terrible.
Naturally, yeah.
And then
didn't they play like Peterborough? Isn't that the rival team or something along those lines? The
I
East
thought
Toronto.
Thunder Bay was the.
Was it Thunder Bay? You might be right about that. I might be getting my hockey movies and my OHL mixed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try and avoid watching some of these movies with my wife because she has a certain proclivity for 80s hockey hair.
You're
and
kidding.
and I don't have any hair, so I avoid it sometimes.
But Keanu Reeves' accent is just terrible, and part of the story is that they all live in this boarding house, and the landlady sleeps with all of them, right?
Oh yeah, okay. This is all ringing a bell. Yes.
Right? And then as they're outside the door, listening, Keanu Reeves says, "She do it to me last year, huh?" And this guy, "She do it to me last night, huh?"
Amazing. Those billet moms getting up to no good.
Exactly. But the skating, when I was in high school, we used to say that the legs of the skaters were clearly filmed differently from the top half, right? Even when Rob Lowe skates towards the bench and it's this top half, if you know hockey, you can see he doesn't know how to skate.
Yeah.
Right? He's really wobbly.
I read something about that. I think it was regarding Youngblood, where they spoke about in their IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
It mentions their inability to skate or how they learned how to skate for the movie.
No, exactly.
I mean, I guess we take it for granted that everyone can skate being Canadian.
Well, no, that's right. That's right. So when I was in high school, the rumor we heard was that the legs were Gary Lehman from the Leafs.
Oh.
Yeah, and I can't remember the other guy, but just before the call here, I looked it up, and it says the current story on it says it was Peter Zezel, who ended up being a Leaf eventually.
Interesting.
And Steve Thomas, I think, another Leaf.
Steve Thomas.
Yeah, Stumpy.
There's a name.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like when I was first starting to get into hockey. That's awesome. Well, I don't know anything about that, Paul, but anytime I've ever thought I need to know whose legs these are, I've always thought Paul Lalonde. So I trust you.
Please. And then when he takes at the end of the movie, he has to take a penalty shot and win the championship for the team.
Yep.
And he skates past the puck, but then he drags his foot behind and kicks it up to his stick. And that's the first time we had ever seen that. And then when we were practicing, we would do the Youngblood move.
The Youngblood move. I think Brad Marchand tried to do that a couple weeks ago and failed miserably. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, and once he skates past the puck, he's done, right? He can't.
Oh yeah, it's finito.
Your forward momentum has to keep going. You can't go back.
Exactly. Couldn't happen to a better guy.
So Youngblood, even though I've always felt it gave a very desolate view of Canada.
Well, I can almost understand it in some ways, particularly in reference to the barns, to the arenas that they're playing in. We were in Cambridge. I don't know, maybe 3 weeks ago, or it was probably a bit longer, right before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's Galt has the oldest arena still in operation in Canada.
Wow.
And this thing is a proper barn. You understand why people call arenas barns when you walk in there.
Yeah.
And some of these old arenas still have pictures of the Queen hanging up.
That's old school.
Real old school. Like I remember going to a teen ranch in Orangeville,
mm-hmm.
growing up, and the coldest arenas,
mm-hmm.
Horribly lit and made out of wood. And so it's not that far off, but there are certain embellishments taken with Hollywood, of course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's neat. Anytime Canada gets mentioned in a pop culture, we tend to get a bit defensive.
Yeah, and part of the storyline is you've got guys on the team who have false teeth or no teeth. That was the old hockey. I don't know if do hockey players lose their teeth now or
big time.
Oh, they do, eh? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Just the dentures have gotten a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, because I grew up with guys who always had a guy on their team who would take his teeth out before the game and put it on the shelf.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a really good question. Like you don't see it as it's not as obvious as it once was, and for some reason I think the mouth guards have just gotten so much better that that's mitigated. But I
yeah,
don't like make no mistake about it. Once or twice a year you'll see a guy even in the OHL get hit or slashed in the mouth and then bend down and pick up his chiclets off the ice
yeah, yeah,
and skate to the back. So it definitely does happen.
yeah,
Probably just with technology, it just doesn't happen as much.
yeah, yeah. No, the game certainly has changed. I go to the Guelph Storm games now, and I just cannot believe how fast they skate, how big they are. So the room is much tighter, and they pass tape to tape. The puck never leaves the ice. It's incredible.
It really is unbelievable, and I try so hard to. Everyone moans and complains about Leafs ticket prices. I said, listen, like just go to an OHL game. Try and invest yourself for like a month in the OHL, and I promise you'll be hooked
Yeah,
because these kids are
yeah,
amazingly talented athletes,
yeah,
and they're doing it for nothing. Most of them,
mhm,
sure, they might get a couple years of free college tuition out of it, but they're leaving their houses in many cases at 16 years old. They're going to cities that they've never been to. They're living there, and they're putting on a show.
mhm,
And for $25 a game,
yeah,
I don't know. You can't go wrong in my mind.
yeah. Years ago, I used to go to the Guelph Storm games, 1993.
Were they the Platers then?
No, it was maybe the second or third season of the Storm,
Okay.
and like the game was different then. Like I saw guys, they would mix it up in a bit of a fight. They'd go to the penalty box, and then in the box, the guy would call over to the other guy and say, "When you when we get out, leave your helmet and gloves in the box." Right? And I mentioned that to an OHL official, and he said, "That's today we call that a staged fight, and that is actually a very serious infraction."
Yeah, big time. And then to add to that, you only get 3 fights in a season before you get suspended. And instigator penalties, even if you don't fight, instigator penalties can get you suspended as well. So
Yeah,
it's a price some guys are willing to take, particularly on good teams that, or maybe even really bad teams that have nothing to lose. But we've got one guy on the Rangers that's already been suspended because he's reached his maximum quota. And you can tell now that he sometimes gets frustrated because his first instinct can't be to drop the gloves because we can't afford to lose him for another 3 or 5 games or whatever.
yeah. So he's had 3 fights on the season. Is that what it is?
Yeah, but yeah, once you hit that threshold, you're in trouble. So
And
um,
if you go over 3, it sounds like you're done for. Is that what
it's a suspension.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when you're making a run like the Rangers are, you need a full lineup of guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay. Cool.
try and cut that down. Yeah.
Have you watched Goon?
Goon is amazing. Yes, of course I've watched Goon. That for me, like how you said that a lot of the lines from Slapshot.
Yeah.
So Goon's the one that sticks out to me the most, and I'm not exactly sure why. I could probably only name 2 or 3 lines anyhow,
Hmm.
but I love that movie. It is so absurdly stupid,
Yeah.
but so great at the
It's
same time.
yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you the parts that I love about Goon
Yeah.
is all the Canadian references.
Yes.
It's so Canadian. If you listen to the music, I don't know if all of the music is Canadian. I think probably all of it is. It's Chilliwack,
Hmm.
Rush. It's great. The captain of his team is named Gord Ogilvy, which is like the most Canadian name of all time.
So good.
And I love Liev Schreiber as the
Yes.
nemesis of the long-standing hockey fighter.
Yep.
And in 2004, I saw Liev Schreiber on stage on Broadway in Glengarry Glen Ross, and I actually waited at the stage door and saw him come out on his bike.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but good actor and good Canadian accent when he the scene where they're in the coffee shop in the middle of the night,
Yes.
and he says
Iconic.
iconic, and when he says you've got my respect, you're the new me, right? But he
Yep.
goes, but kid, know this hard. If it comes down to me and you, I will lay you the fuck out.
Amazing. Good. That was good delivery, Paul. I like that. Yeah, the first time I watched it wasn't that long ago. It was probably like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, this is like Trailer Park Boys on Ice.
That's right.
I don't know if your American audience will understand that, but that's I
Actually, they
couldn't
will.
help but think that
Actually, they will.
that's what it
That's one of the
was.
things they know about Canada is Trailer Park Boys.
There you go. Okay, our culture is growing and spreading. This is good.
And the goalie, Belcher, I can't get enough of his Canadian accent too, right? When he says,
It's gold.
There's two rules, bud. What is it? Stay away from my fucking Percocets, and do you have any Percocets?
Do you have any Percocets? Yeah. Oh yeah, I like his buddy in the crowd too. Pick 69. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of quotes from that movie.
It's really good. Really good.
Well, I got funny story. I started watching all these hockey movies again, probably 5-6 years ago when I watched Goon for the first time, because when I started dating my wife, who at that time was my girlfriend, for one, it was an anniversary or some birthday or something like that. I illegally downloaded like, I don't know, 50 hockey movies, like every hockey movie you can imagine.
There's that many? Okay, good.
There are, and some of them are horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
But I downloaded everyone that I could find at the time, when that was an age in the internet 5 years ago, when it was a lot easier to find movies like that. And I put them all on a hard drive. Yeah. And part of my gift to her was all of these hockey movies. So that's kind of when I got into this subculture, and I loved it because of how amazing the caricatures are of who we are as a people.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, just Googling what are hockey movies. Like, some people have got long lists of stuff of the Red Army one, which is about the Russian guys.
That was a documentary, right?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was really good. And I remember when the Russians came to the NHL, and you didn't fully appreciate until you see them interview now, like how lonely and out of sorts they were. And
yeah, I bet.
And like, their wives really didn't like it in North America, and they missed everyone at home, and can we just go home now? And
yeah, I didn't get to experience any of that growing up, obviously, being that I was born in 90. Mm-hmm. But my favorite player growing up was Pavel Bure.
Oh yeah.
And I remember him as a Florida Panther, and just the speed that he had. And he was this like smaller Russian guy that was able to skate circles around all the opposing players. It was amazing to watch. And so, like, for me, the hockey that I grew up with, like, Russia was as synonymous with the NHL as Canada was, practically.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, I never understood the history or anything like that until I watched, I think it was the Red Army, as a matter of fact. And you hear about the things like the Summit Series and whatnot that happened in the mid '80s. And that there's a huge section at the Hall of Fame, in fact, that goes through that history. And it's neat reading about that, because that happened like right before I was born. And I think people were just so eager to get over that part of history in many ways, that it just it never really got spoken about, particularly with the NHL. So I love learning about that little bit of history, because, like I said, hockey to me is Canada, Russia, and the United States, and it's always, or the NHL to me is Canada, Russia, and the United States, and it's never been different.
Yeah, no, it's fully integrated now. Our junior team here in Guelph, the star is a Russian kid.
Yeah, Gogolev.
He has the same first name as me. He's Pavlov.
There you go.
Yeah, and then if you watch on Goon, like, you got to have two crazy Russian characters on your team, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it, and I think it's a real testament to, I'm a big baseball guy, and I'm not trying to say that this is on the same level as the MLB and the Negro Leagues coming together. And breaking down the color barrier that way. I wouldn't say it's the same level, but sports definitely does have that ability to unify under this thing that we all love to watch and different cultures can appreciate. And it's awesome to see what that can do. It's often a catalyst for many bigger social ventures that we take on as a society.
Yeah, and I love when how you really embrace people from other countries, like Matt Sundin, right?
It's amazing.
When he comes to Toronto, like we just playing for Sweden, right? The standing ovation, and he's playing against our guys, right?
Yeah.
But he's one of us. We can't, right? If Matt Sundin
Respect.
steps on the ice, we gotta stand up and cheer.
Yeah. There's too much respect, and that's so awesome to see. So sports can divide a lot of people and around the water cooler, but I think ultimately it's a force for good, and that's why I love being around it. I love being around these young men who are trying to make something of themselves and push themselves to the physical and mental limits of their abilities, and whilst at the same time trying to go to school, getting involved in all the social aspects of helping out their community and being leaders in their community. Those are the understated parts. They put on a show for us, granted, but what these kids do off the ice is so admirable as well. So it's such a fun thing to be a part of.
Yeah, and I'm also equally proud of Canada's women's hockey players and what they've achieved internationally.
I mean, that's by any sporting standards, that's domination.
Exactly.
What they do, and I hope that I hope for their sake and for the sake of young girls who like hockey out there. There's a whole debate now with the women's hockey league that they want to form, and I hope that there's a sponsor out there that at least gives it a fair go. Let's at least try it out, see if there can be attention drawn to it with the right people in the room, and if so, power to them, and it'll only, I think, help grow the game.
Yeah. So did you want to take us out with a quote from Slapshot? Anything about putting on the foil every game?
Oh my goodness gracious!
Give me a soda, grape or
orange.
You know
what? Like one of the parts that cracks me up every time with that movie isn't like a specific quote. It's the first time that the Hanson brothers get brought into the locker room, and the player coach is doing a speech. And every time he says something, they just go nuts.
I love that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go get him. We're gonna go get him.
That's right.
And the look that everyone gives them, like, are these guys loose? What is wrong with them? And that scene every time has me in tears, and it did last night too. So
that's good. That's good. Thanks for being on the podcast, Andrew. This was great.
No problem, buddy. It was a lot of fun. Let's do it again.
Do you have a website or anything you want to share with people?
I just head over to my Twitter. I like talking to people on there, and there's a lot of good hockey content on there as well. So it's at Andrew in Guelph.
Perfect. Okay. All the best, my friend.
Thanks, my man. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Not bad listening for a snowy Canadian day. I hope everyone enjoyed that discussion on hockey films. We're going to have more movie discussions coming up on this podcast series. Thinking of ideas, we're going to have war movies, gangster movies, rom-coms, all the cool stuff. Oh, Wall Street movies, one of my favorite Wall Street movies. Okay, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. All the best, everyone. Thanks.